pushes, just stall the game for RTZ, give him that 20 minutes of uninterrupted farm. I want to see some more VGJ, Death Prophet, and Dragon Knight. It's not too flashy necessarily, but it's worked for them so far. So hopefully they'll get that and have a draft about to start soon.
Lacoste, any first bans that we were expecting here from VGJ to take away from Evil Geniuses?
They've been banning out Chen every single time. I think ET is going to be highly contested. Same goes for Tusk, no surprise there. And I think Lycan will be one of the heroes that both teams want to go for. For the first time, I actually feel that RTZ is actually happy with the team and how team is doing, and I think that's a big boost for the team overall.
See that post-game interview he did after that VGJ series? He was animated. He was excited. He was happy to talk about the game.
No, it's because he's in the Philippines. He feels good here, right, guys? Yeah. EG feels good in the Philippines?
Yeah.
They know it, and EG knows it as well.
I wonder why.
Everyone loves the Philippines, come on. All right, so our remaining bans, so Chen, Bane, and PL for VGJ.Thunder. Evil Geniuses banning out the Night Stalker, Lycan, and Omni Knight. First pick Tusk here by VGJ.
Well, no surprise there. Tusk is one of the heroes that can gank mid lane, especially heroes like Shadowfiend who are super vulnerable. Yeah. Just needs level 1. He can get a kill with just level 1. On level 2, he feels like he's 3 times stronger. Also, one of the position 4 heroes that can actually shove out the waves pretty quickly. That's why people go for the XPM talent, so they get easier to level 15, and that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it's Fade picking it. It's going to be Fade playing it. I think he has like a 75% plus win rate on it in this patch, so definitely looking forward to seeing that picked up here.
That hero has everything. It goes through a BKB, he has a stun, he has a vision,
he's got a save. Yeah.
They kind of took EG by surprise, though. They spent quite a bit of time on that reserve time, and that's because VGJ.Thunder, in both their games in their previous series, opened up with Tusk, and in both those games, Evil Geniuses returned it with a Death Prophet first pick. But this time they're going in a different direction. Maybe they suspect that VGJ.Thunder is onto them. Like, why pick the same opening again?
Yeah, I think DP is going to be either picked now by EG or VGJ.Thunder. Both really high value in the hero. A lot of Western teams don't pick it up, but most of the Chinese do, even in the first. There it is, actually.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they go for the SF again here.
SF Tusk is such a deadly combo because you have pretty much secured triple raise, and Tusk doesn't do what other position 4 heroes do in general. They don't threaten that Prophet in a lane. Like if you have a hero like an Earth Spirit who rolls in, so that's just another target that DP uses Spirit Siphon on. Tusk is definitely not that.
Let's go off meta for a little bit. Are there any heroes that are not in the meta that would actually fit into this lineup against the Death Prophet? There's the Shadowfiend that you have predicted thus far, but what if we break the meta and go for something outside of the box here? Is there anything that might be able to pierce through EG's thick skin?
If anyone's going to be breaking out the meta, I think it's going to be EG. VGJ.Thunder, I mean, while they have proven a lot of versatility, whenever you do have these younger players, more often than not, you're better off giving them something that they're consistently comfortable on rather than rocking the boat. Evil Geniuses, on the other hand, there is no boat. They will do whatever they want. One thing that Lumi was consistently bringing up is the potential board. Don't know where this Nyx Assassin is going to be, and Sumail has occasionally played it.
It's probably position 4 Nyx with the meme hammer.
Yeah, are we going to see the Meteor Hammer?
I mean, it's the exact same opening as before in their game too. It was Nyx Death Prophet on the side of EG, and it was Shadowfiend Tusk on the side of VGJ.Thunder. So let's just run it back, I guess.
I mean, maybe they think they can, if it's the same draft, then play it differently. Maybe VGJ think they can win it. That's the one nice thing about being in the best of 5 now, as opposed to being in the BO1s, right? Pressure's off a little bit. The teams are going to get to feel each other out somewhat in terms of the drafting, and we'll probably see priorities evolve, like as the best of 5 actually goes on.
It's game number 1, so you can pretty much experiment, if you want to call it, in game number 1. You'll have a couple of games to come back.
So we have an Ancient Apparition ban here by Evil Geniuses. Now, is there a place here for VGJ to ban out Misery's Warlock? Because we have seen them be very, very comfortable with a Warlock with the Death Prophet.
Misery's Warlock would be a possibility, but I'm more concerned about Misery's Dazzle. Dazzle still remains, and it would continue the theme of beating with the exact same draft that won them game 2. One difference is that Evil Geniuses opted to ban out the Ancient Apparition, and that was the 3rd pick for VGJ.Thunder in the previous draft. So VGJ.Thunder will have to go off script a little bit, and Dazzle seems like a fine pick. Warlock would also be good, but it looks like VGJ.Thunder is more interested in banning out these cores. They are, I don't want to say not respecting Misery, but they're definitely more terrified of having to deal with RTZ quietly farming away for 40 minutes and then game 1v5.
I think the problem is that you can't ban both, right? You bring up the Warlock, you bring up the Dazzle, they're both good with the Death Prophet, and you just can't, you don't want to spend both bans or only ban one of them and then knowingly let the other through, so they'll probably just have to find some way to deal with it. They could take one of them themselves. Dazzle is actually pretty decent against Death Prophet as well, just having the weave bonus armor lets you fight into the Exorcism a lot of the time. But
yeah, by banning out Terrorblade, they might want to go for Luna because Reflection just kills that hero, or CK as well. That opens up CK pick for VGJ.Thunder.
Very true. Aside from that, so a couple of heroes that have made it through is Tinker, Medusa. I think Tiny has not been banned either. He's still in the pool. Lycan's already been banned out. There is also the possibility of a Razor for VGJ. They do love running Razor, but you already have the Shadow Fiend.
Well, Shadow Fiend is not as slow as he was before because of the damage that he gets from the raises, plus the build that is really popular right now. You build into drum so you can fight early on.
Yeah,
so you can still pick a Razor.
Yeah, it gives you options, right?
Yeah.
The SF can build multiple different ways.
VGJ.Thunder consistently dynamic of having one space creating core in the early stages of the game, which Tiny has now been banned out, but is one of those options, and then allowing the later game carry to have an easy time, which in the previous series it was SF making space for a Luna.
Yeah.
The problem was that SF in the late game made space, and then afterwards, like, what do I do with all these random items that I have?
Yeah, the item decisions were a little bit strange.
Like, he had an Aghanim Scepter, which great at some stages of the game. Later on, it proved to be irrelevant, and then ultimately, he got a Sheep Stick, but you have to wonder what would happen if that came sooner.
SF versatility can be, in terms of item build, like it can be a blessing and a curse, right? Because not only you're like, oh, I can build anything that I want, but at the same time...
It was curse yesterday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So just bad itemization from Shadow Fiend. The Orchid didn't do anything.
You're going down like one path. You can't, unlike other cores, you can't like advise your build halfway through and still be useful. SF is like, I'm gonna be magic damage, I'm gonna start out being magic damage 15 minutes, I'm gonna end the game being magic damage, whereas other cores can be like, I'll start out with Sange and Yasha, I'll see what happens, we'll see how the game goes, maybe I'll transition into physical, maybe I'll transition into magic damage. SF doesn't have that kind of option.
Yeah, against Dazzle, first thing that pretty much always comes to mind is an Axe, but he's not that good a laner. Maybe with a Tusk it's possible, but he has hard time recovering. You want to have that Blink Dagger as soon as possible. Also, one of the counters to Dazzle is OD, so you can just prison someone or just keep stealing the intelligence from that hero, but I don't think it's a full hero. Maybe they can put it on a safe lane, but it takes a lot of time for OD to come online.
What are your thoughts on picking up the Disruptor? It gives them elements of chase now with the Glimpse. The Static Storm could be very useful if thrown in the correct places. Is the Disruptor a step in the right direction here for VGJ?
It's a good hero overall because of the Graved hero, so they can just send him back. That's really good. Also, the Silence provides more control for Dazzle.
I like them just adding more teamfight as well. I was wondering if maybe VGJ would consider going for a Tide Hunter in this situation, and EG may be even preempting it a little bit with the Doom pickup or trying to deter VGJ away from it. Because that's another way that you can kind of deal with the Dazzle, is if you're going on the core, but then you have a big AoE teamfight initiator that can just jump onto the back lines and stun everybody, Dazzle included, then the Grave's not going to come out.
And the Doom kind of cancels the Tide Hunter pick for VGJ.Thunder because it completely destroys the hero. And most of the time VGJ is a big fan of a Tide Hunter. And against these two supports, Dazzle and Nyx Assassin, Hunter doesn't, they can't zone him out.
Okay, so tell me about Doom, but I want to hear who's playing it. The cost playing this Doom.
Male.
Okay, Basket.
Yeah, I guess I'll say some mail as well, but I'm not sure, right? That's the beauty
That's why
of EG.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny?
Yeah,
I actually think it's Sumail. I feel like he's going to show his true colors in that offlane role.
no one knows except EG.
No one knows.
No one
That's
knows.
a fact.
I'll say Fear just for giggles.
It could be crit. They could go for the roaming Doom. You know how they used to play it?
China Doom, as it was affectionately referred to. You grab a Kobold and you just go meme on people with Scorched Earth.
Oh, there's the Luna pick I was talking about.
But this time no TB.
No TB, so it's going to be a better Luna game overall.
They still need some frontline, right? They have a little bit of save, they have some catch, they have some team fight. A little bit more lockdown and some frontline, I think, would do wonders. And there's still a couple of heroes left in the pool. I'd actually really like to see a Centaur, potentially,
That
from
was what
VGJ.
I wanted to ask, Facecave. You know, Lucas, why have we not seen the Centaur? Explain to me, why is he phased out of the meta currently?
It's pretty much the same why we don't see Axe. He's not that strong of a laner. Maybe if you put him up with a dual lane, put Tusk or maybe Undying.
That's pretty
with him.
classic, actually,
Yeah.
Centaur Tusk.
He needs that Blink Dagger, but he also kind of needs Hood for the Blink Dagger. So maybe Void would be one of the heroes. So you have kind of a tri-core for a VGJ.Thunder, but it also can work for EG as well, if they want to play it. So you have a hero that you want to Doom, have a Void, you have a Shadowfiend, you have Luna, so that's how you counter Doom.
Sand King ended up becoming a better Centaur. He is allowed to roam more early on. He's just as good of a laner with Caustic Finale against melee heroes, and he's not as reliant on a Blink Dagger because the Hoof Stomp is not a reliable stun, and with just boots and a level 1 Burrow Strike, you see Sand King's getting killed. My one skepticality is this Disruptor. Brewmaster is another follow-up. It's just that this guy has no way to make Glimpse useful. He has no vision heroes exceptional that are exceptional at being like, okay, well, these heroes are escaping, we're going to be able to bring him back. Like Brewmaster, Storm Panda can kind of do it, but that's in a team fight situation. And Disruptor shines best whenever it's like VP style, where you're like just constantly moving around. Glimpse is a threat from minute 1, and that doesn't seem like to be the case for VGJ.
Yeah, my problem for VGJ.Thunder with the Brewmaster pick is that it just doesn't frontline at all. Brewmaster's always kind of looking at, especially against the Doom, right? You don't want to be standing on the front lines and getting doomed. There are other heroes where you can potentially get some value even if you get doomed, or you can maybe disengage, but that's not the case here.
Okay, we're going to see the return of Morphling here for Evil Geniuses. So it's going to be the second time played on the main stage. Now, I've got to ask both of you for your predictions for this matchup. Is it going to be EG or is it going to be VGJ.Thunder?
I prefer VGJ's Thunder lineup this game. They have pretty much of everything good early, good laning stage overall. They have good mid. They just need the Tusk to help the mid lane to secure Shadowfiend's lane. They scale well into the late game. A lot of vision from these heroes, from Luna, from Disruptor, also is going to provide a lot of good sandbags from Disruptor, and Tusk as well provides a lot of vision, so I'll go with them.
Yeah. I think the Tusk is going to get more done in the early game than the Nyx Assassin, so I'm going to go with
I'll go with Evil Genius, mainly because Arteezy's Morphling in one other game that they had picked it earlier, untouchable the entire time. And I don't mean the Enchanter style, which we saw in previous series. I'm talking about legitimately, like, it doesn't matter what you do. Especially since they only have, like, a Silence and a mini stun from Luna. That's really all you have to stop him from Morphling.
Okay, so it looks like we've got 1 for Evil Geniuses, 2 for VGJ.Thunder. We're going to throw it over to the old, the classic, the Gods Luminous combo. Take it away, gentlemen.
Here we go, Philippines. It is the grand finals, Lumi. It is exciting. I feel old, man. I've been to the Philippines so many times, and I hope I get to keep on coming back. This is the best crowds in the world.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. Dota 2 should never die in the Philippines. We've seen so many great events here. Galaxy Battle is putting on another fantastic one. We start our grand finals with this best of 5. And it is EG versus VGJ.
There's definitely a lot of EG fans in the crowd.
There's a lot of Dota fans in the crowd
That's
too.
definitely true. I think one thing we could agree for sure is that if there's going to be some good plays, there's going to be a lot of cheers crowd.
Yep, and we will be getting things underway fairly soon. What do you make of the drafts, what the teams have pulled out? Very similar to that Game 2 we saw yesterday in the best of 3, at least with the opening picks. How do you think the adjustments are going to change things this time around?
I really like the EG Doom. I feel like the Doom's going to put a lot of pressure onto Sylar in the lanes. I mean, if you look at the VGJ.Thunder safe lane, you got Disruptor, which is traditionally a very weak laner. Luna takes a while to get online, and Tusk, okay early on, but when Doom runs at you with Inferno Blade, there's not much answer, and I feel like Sylar is going to get pressured. And then on the other side, I feel like Arteezy is going to have a free game. You only have Glimpse into Static Storm. I feel like Arteezy is going to get into his Ethereal Blade very, very soon, and a lot of these heroes are free picking.
It feels like almost every game of EG's, Arteezy's had very free open games. What is it about EG that makes him so good at securing farm for Arteezy particularly?
I think that there's a lot of strength on the support side from Crit as well as Misery. With that said, though, I feel like they're playing really weak supports in the kind of early stage of the game. Yesterday, we saw a Bane ET combination from EG, basically just ran every lane and just won every single lane.
Their microphones so they can make sure all their in-game communications working, just to update you viewers here at the audience, as well as those of you at home watching on Twitch. We're getting things underway as soon as possible. What do you think? I mean, this series as a whole, EG favorites coming in. Do you think, I mean, you predicted VGJ 3-2. China #1.
I'm just trying to be the China fanboy right now.
Of course.
I do definitely recognize EG is probably the stronger team between the two, but I think VGJ, out of all of the teams here, came the closest to play a good series against EG, so my prediction might not be too far off.
Yeah, and that's definitely what we saw yesterday, is that EG are beatable. They're not this unstoppable force that they kind of looked like from their first two series. If anything, I think it pointed to the fact their first two series were kind of warm-up series in a way. You know, PG Barracks, a wildcard team, OG, a fantastic world-class team, but playing with two stand-ins that very much changed the dynamic of their team. So it felt like VGJ.Thunder was the first test for them. Well, and it's also going to be the final test for them.
I got a question for you, gods. You know, EG is known for Sumail as a dominant mid laner. RTZ, of course, traditionally a mid laner as well. Fear, what do you rank as mid lane? Because do you think he's going to be able to hang with Freeze?
I think he'll do fine. I think we've seen, you know, mid lane, it's where the supports go now.
Okay. So it's more like a safe lane.
And if anything, EG's happy to, well, we've seen Fiora play the side lanes, like off lane almost a bit on some of the games, but if anything, it seems like they're happy for Fiora to be in a 1v2 or get pressured, because it means RTZ's free farming. So perhaps that it doesn't bother EG if Fiora is not dominating and winning his lane, as long as other lanes are going well.
Okay, well, we got the game on the way, so I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready. Are you guys here in the Philippines Arena ready? Sounding pretty damn good as we get our way into game #1. VGJ playing on the Dire side, Evil Geniuses on the Radiant. It's going to be an RTZ Morphling, the hero to watch for them, the player to watch for EG, who they played around so much in this tournament. For VGJ.Thunder, we're looking at Freeze to a large extent on the Shadow Fiend. He had a great game to some extent yesterday on the Shadow Fiend in that deciding one, but did maybe itemize not really optimally, which perhaps led to their demise. This time around, we'll see if he can make amends as we get ourselves into it with the lanes.
So one thing to kind of immediately point out is that VGJ is playing on the Dire side. And I feel like when you're playing one of these hyper farmers like Luna or Medusa, you do definitely want to be on the Dire side. And I feel like this entire series, including this game, is going to go fairly long. And I feel like VGJ is one of those teams that might be able to challenge EG when it comes to just ricing and farming.
I imagine they recognize that that's been at least a trend with EG's games, is farming efficiency, playing for the late game with RTZ. They kind of just are happy to not play this game where they pressure and go for a ton of kills. As long as RTZ's farming, they feel comfortable in the late game. And like you say, Luna SF, you can match up in the late game. You've got the Dire side where you've got better farming options for Ancients and things. So perhaps a clear decision by VGJ to go head-to-head with EG in a late-game scenario.
Both teams trading their runes. It's like they're going to give one to Yang here.
Will be SF with a better block, though, thanks to the Ice Shards.
Okay. That is one of the strengths of the Tusk. Normally blocking it for the off lane, but looks like he is going to do so for the safe lane here. Or mid lane, rather. You're also missing block.
Or is that intentional, do you think, sending that range creep
Look at
out?
Fade, he's just like walking forward, making sure the creep wave is exactly where he wants it to be.
Yeah, you block that wave and then you get it perfectly on the hill. Gonna be a tough mid lane. Dazzle will be forced to help things out here to ensure that SF does not get all the free souls in the world early on. For top lane, Nyx Assassin trying to bully out AO a bit, going for an early point in Impale, hasn't had to use it just yet. And bottom lane, the Morphling 1v1 against the Brewmaster.
I like this choice a lot by EG. There is a 0% chance that RTZ will die in this lane. And look at him, he is able to actually morph most of his damage. Sitting at, what, 400 HP, no fear. And it's gonna just clap on Yang for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess even if he has a support there, he's getting Drunken Haze and missing a few CS. So unless that Dazzle is gonna provide kill potential, it's perhaps not necessary for the support to be there. I mean, and much more importantly, SF getting free souls from the get-go could be a big problem. Anticipation here as we get Pause coming out here. Jay quickly ready to go. SF already 5 souls. Nothing crazy, but that's kind of the idea that you do get those early souls thanks to the presence of the Tusk.
So I do imagine that VGJ is going to make a move in the mid lane, probably after the rune check at 2 minutes. Generally, that's when Shadow Fiend hits about almost level 3. With a good rune and a good shard, they could definitely set up a kill on maybe the Dazzle.
That's the thing, Dazzle's not a hero that's going to be able to necessarily pick up those runes as easily and doesn't want to move around. There's more a let's sit behind my core kind of role. We'll see Misery get the early point in Poison Touch to try and offer some harass, but runes coming out. See if any big 2-minute runes do come into play for some of these roamers like the Tusk or Nyx Assassin.
Dazzle is actually going to beat Tusk to the rune. We'll take the regen for himself.
Biggest deal, as he was pretty full on health and mana, but more importantly, denying potential rune from the opposition. Crit's now got a point in mana burn, so just trying to deplete the Disruptors to prevent those Thunder Strikes from being spammed out. No clarities on the Disruptor either at this point.
There's a row creep. I don't know what this is about. Up on the top lane. Ran back into the tower, and now it's going to get denied.
Things happen. Game's still in beta. It's okay. That creep's still in beta. But yeah, so, I mean, right now it seems like despite the 2v2 in mid, 2v2 up top, it is kind of a passive laning stage. Neither team is feeling like they're under pressure to go for a lot of kills. I say that, Fade is actually coming up top, perhaps thinking this is where the first blood is going to come. There's the snowball in, Crit getting initiated on, there's going to be a nice ice shot block. First blood picked up. Rest in peace to Ian, who is not here to push his button.
Yeah, and not only that, they have drawn the TP from the Dazzle up top. That means Freeze is going to get a true 1v1 against Fair in the mid lane. And right now, Freeze is going to get the massive damage advantage.
You think this is what favors VGJ then, to have the true 1v1 mid?
I think so, especially with the favorable matchup now that Shadow Fiend has so much more damage.
Yep. Well, TZ going to continue to be left alone and has not hampered his farm at all. He's top of the CS charts for now. Picking up bounty runes, doing just fine. Has a bottle queued up, so if he's going to be in a 1v1 and picking up bounty runes, he wants to have that bottle to get extra value, as he can get 2 runes at once off. And mid lane, Fear in trouble. He's been blocked by the shards. There's still a snowball as well. There's one more raise if they need it. He throws it, gets the nice triple raise. As Fear goes down, Shadow Fiend picking up the kill.
That is a concern here for EG in the mid lane. Yesterday, Fear also lost the mid lane in this exact matchup, and that's why I kind of threw that question to you earlier. We'll see if EG is going to be hampered by the weak mid lane for now.
Yep. Runes coming up again, this time a double damage up top. Again, we see Arteezy going for the double bounty rune with his bottle.
He is giving the Brewmaster a lot of CS in lane by doing this, but Yang also has bought a bottle of his own, and that bottle is not getting refilled.
Oh, Crit did lose the race to the double damage rune. Now he's in trouble. Fade's just going to right click him down. Fear comes in, perhaps trying to save his buddy here, but Crit's still very low now. Oh. Nice ice shots blocked.
Here comes the Shadow Fiend. He could raise him off here. One more raise is necessary, but he already used a long one, and of course, doesn't really have any mana left.
Oh, the chase is on. Crit's being caught. One or two more right clicks could spell his demise, but Dazzle's there with a heal. That'll save his life.
A very interesting Disruptor skill build here, actually taking up the Thunder Strike ability. 0.2 Glimpse. It does make sense given the lane that he's up against, but he is going to suffer down the road here without having the ability to pick up extra kills. Now
up top. Styler. Oh my, that heal bomb destroys the Luna, and they get a kill on the VGJ carry.
Yeah, and that is the weakness of the safe lane that I was somewhat concerned about in the drafting phase. EG finally does pick up a kill here, but back in the mid lane, yeah.
Like another couple of raises. This Tusk has been all over the map, having a very big impact.
And the concern for a Death Prophet that's falling behind is that even though she has Crypt Swarm to catch back up, she will always be a step behind the Shadow Fiend. And I feel like throughout the whole game, Shadow Fiend's gonna find free pickings on Fear.
Bottom lane, we haven't talked too much about. Yang is pretty even on CS, had to go back and shrine up. Arteezy having kind of a regen advantage because of the bottle. He's picked up 4 bounty runes already. I feel like that's something Brewmaster maybe needed to contest with his own bottle. He's got one now. We'll see if he stops Arteezy from getting these next couple of rooms. Misery smoked up, will look to put down an Observer Ward. Top lane, it's Nyx Assassin going down in response to the Disruptor kill.
Uh-oh, Yang might be in a lot of trouble here. He is going to port away.
But Dazzle was trying to come on in with a ward. Now he's been scattered, so he may have to be careful about where he puts the ward.
Yeah, he's going to change the spot. Immediately, there was a ping from the Dire side, expecting him to ward the spot.
Yeah, if you can get in there undetected, you want to kind of get the ward on the cliff, which is the ideal spot, but once you've been scouted, it's much more important to make sure that ward does not get de-ward. Top lane, they're TPing in multiple heroes, but this is being scouted.
Yes.
Dire Vision on the cliff sees everything coming Luna's way.
So far, I gotta say, Misery, apart from the big heal bomb, he hasn't really contributed much to the team, which I guess is somewhat to be expected for a Dazzle. You don't really expect him to make big plays for now.
How's this early game feeling for you? You think both teams pretty content? Either one have a bit of an edge at all?
I say the bottom lane's a wash. RTZ is getting as he expected, but Yang's getting quite a bit as well. The mid lane being heavily won, but the top lane is my big concern right now for VGJ, as here comes a big dive on Sylar.
Oh, Sumail getting fairly low, but he's brought Sylar even low. He actually walks back into him, gets Infernal Bladed again. Sylar ticking away, will burn down. 3 points in that Infernal Blade. Shadowfiend was rotating in, trying to get these kills. Sumail trying to TP out, it gets cancelled. Great play from Babe, stopping the Grave TP. Sumail will pay with his life. Raise used just for the exclamation mark as Misery up top. On the run, he's gotten this tower down very low with his team. The siege creep will finally be finished off. Misery needs to TP out, but I don't believe he's got a TP. It's on cooldown, even if he buys one.
Oh, he needs some very sick juke, but it's gonna get vision here from Io.
Can he get this kill?
No, he won't.
Poison Touch not going to offer enough damage. A lot of time being wasted as Fear is having some much needed alone time in mid lane. Does end up going down, but yes, Fear on the Death Prophet, some uncontested farm mid. Bottom lane Brewmaster was still lurking around, as we'll see 8-minute runes coming up. This time the off-lane Brew and Morph trading one apiece. More importantly, the Illusion rune is here, and Arteezy will snag that one.
The bottom lane is really showing a big difference here, as top lane, Fade.
Could be in some trouble. Doesn't have mana for the snowball, and again, the Infernal Blade chewing through VGJ. Sumail, his aggression really showing here. Something he'd love to showcase in the mid lane, but perhaps even more suited to this off lane. And a Brewmaster split being thrown out just to save his life here. Maybe actually able to get a kill on Misery. Has the Cyclone if he wants to go for it. Yep, we'll buy some time with a TP in from AO. Misery should be going down here. Snowball going to stop any sort of a grave. And Arteezy may have to back off here. He wants to kill this Brewmaster. He's waiting for him to pop out. Can he actually get this? The waveform through will not hit. Arteezy steals the Brewmaster form with the replicant. Now he's getting pulled back in. He's trying to make some plays, but unsuccessful. If he'd managed to actually hit the waveform on the Brew, may have gotten the kill here. Arteezy getting low though, needs to be careful. He's morphing string. Here comes Sylar, no Eclipse, but Arteezy's out. Waves out with the last bit of mana that he had, and Luna did not have an Eclipse, not that he may have been able to connect with it anyways.
Both players just baiting each other out, using a full magic wand. We're gonna watch this team fight one more time, and do notice that once the Brewmaster split ends, Yang still goes in, recognizing that he has a pretty big magic wand, and he is able to survive that engagement.
Catch the end of that replay, a bit of aggression coming out of the mid lane in real time, but nothing too much, as it was a very flashy play attempt coming out from Arteezy.
Yep.
But not quite successful.
So with the first usage of the ultimate here for Arteezy, do you feel like there's any amazing spell that you could steal from, well, not steal, but like replicate from the other side?
Utilize. That may disrupt. There's not really a whole lot, I guess.
Disruptor's Glimpse perhaps is the best one.
Well, the problem is you have to be like, the cast range on replicate is such that I don't think you're ever going to find a way to use Glimpse effectively.
Sure.
What we're seeing mostly is, like just in that fight, you use the ultimate, quickly grab one spell, use it, and then immediately morph back to your traditional form. Which is where things like Terrorblade Metamorph are fantastic.
Yeah, in the one game that we saw Arteezy play, not only Metaphor, but also Reflection.
Reflection, yeah. Illusions, you know?
Yeah, just getting free Aura for a team.
Bottom lane, nice. Misery. Caught out. Team 5 position support struggle a bit. They may not actually be able to get this kill as Sylar looking for that last loot to be nice. Juke behind the tree. Misery saves his life, but unfortunately for Sumail, he may not be able to catch up to the Luna here. Great kinetic field will create enough of a bit of distance there.
Actually, they could smoke right up after this, and I don't think EG will expect it.
Maybe they want this Brew, or they want to force out another Primal split. He's got it back up though. He's okay. It's gonna be smoke from the mid lane. Looks like the Shadow Fiend and Disruptor headed down there. Brewmaster being left alone to farm his Blink Dagger. So they're not bringing Yang in to get involved with the Primal Split. Instead, they're playing around their other 2 cores.
Tusk needs to hit his disable. He's pretty much the only disable here.
Oh, they go on Sumail. He's got no TP to get out of this one. There's the Lucent Beam to follow it up. Misery sitting behind Sumail, but I'm not sure he can really save his life. Crit goes out for the Carapace. Can he hit a good Impale here? He wants to get Fade in the backlines. Will bring him down with the Impale. Back in the main fight, though, Dazzle gets brought down as a secondary kill, and Crit, no Carapace, Vendetta, Impale. He's got nothing to really play around. May actually go down here as well. And look to continue to run around in circles, buy as much time as possible, but there is no escape for him. Freeze is crushing it on the Shadow Fiend.
I gotta say, I'm very impressed with AO's play so far. Again, Disruptor is just not an early game dominating support, but he's involved in 8 kills for his team, just through good positioning and good kinetic fields.
Mid lane, there's the Blink reveal of sorts. Yang did have mana if he popped his wand, but I think recognized Sphere was about to heal up with the Exorcism, so there was no chance to get that kill.
I gotta say, very strong recovery for Fear, despite dying once or twice in the mid lane. Second in net worth here, and actually eclipsing the Shadow Fiend.
And that's a top 3 net worth currently all on the EG side.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small gold lead overall, but when you look at cores like that, that's definitely a good sign. Dire Scam will clip Sumail here. I'm not sure if they realize it was just him. They're going to go in the Primal Split. Misery behind, but I think he's just going to leave Sumail for dead. As Disruptor even going to drop the Static Storm. A bit overkill, but they were unclear how many heroes were down there. I think the scan made them believe there were more. They're looking for a glimpse here. Can they find Misery? He's tucked himself in some trees. Can TP out, but would rather, I think, lurk around this bottom lane if possible.
AO's still looking.
Misery pops out. Did they see him? Not sure that's the case. He will go close to this ward fairly soon. Doesn't look like they're going to find the Dazzle kill. More importantly, EG. Space created. Arteezy farming up top. Fear doing some damage to the mid-tier 1 tower. Here comes VGJ though. Crit, invised up, will actually scout the ward being planted. Really good intel being picked up by EG.
Yeah, they really need to tend to this top lane and at least get it pushed out. Don't let Arteezy get too much tier 2 building damage, and he is. Very good ward here for EG, pretty much protecting the way that Arteezy wants to play.
Very classic wards what we're seeing a lot of is VGJ. It feels like the mid lane, Crit.
Okay, good fake out here. They have Glimpse, cancel that TP, and Freeze. Yeah,
mega kill streak.
Yeah, very well played.
It seems like the early game's gone well enough for VGJ. They're like a little bit behind. The cores are being slightly outfarmed. The SF's actually back on top now, but it does seem like they need to spend some time just prioritizing the farm, particularly on Luna. It seems like they've been overemphasizing going for kills. They're up 12-5, but by no means are they ahead. If anything, they're slightly behind considering Luna's farm.
They're behind now, but it just comes down to what can VGJ do with these kills, right? If they could convert kills into these tier 1 towers and get map advantage back, then it's going to be a pretty good look for VGJ. Remember that bottom tier 1 engagement where you thought it was somewhat of an overkill where they dropped the Static Storm?
Yeah.
I think when you could get a tier 1 tower after that, just to guarantee it, I think it's always a good choice to overkill.
Easy hasted up coming in mid. Nice snowball to the creep here. Fade gonna be brought down as the Glimpse was there as well. Arteezy just gonna take a tier 1 of his own. So while VGJ are getting towers, so are EG. Top lane, SF wants a tower of his own. Did go for the Yule's build. Got that burst damage potential, particularly good against a hero like Death Prophet. Maybe forced to build something like a BKB. Or Sumail, we've seen him get initiated on so many times. There'll be one more. He pops the hood. He's very, very tanky. But they should have enough damage to bring him down. No real escape. He's going to throw out a Doom here. Crit's coming in. Impale gets thrown out as well.
Okay.
Can they actually bring down Silas Luna here? There's the Static Storm here. Misery coming in, looking for the heal bomb, but Luna's back to safety with the tower here. Fear arrived with an Exorcism, but the problem is there's an SF, and this is looking like a disaster for EG. VGJ, they've got the numbers. They've taken out 2 already. Looking for Fear, who's trying to heal himself through this, but there's no chance for it. Brought down. SF still alive as well, thanks with the help of the Yule Scepter. Misery's next in the firing line. That's 4 dead. I don't think you call that one space created for Arteezy. I think you call that one a VGJ win.
Yeah, that was excellent Panda play here by Brewmaster. Not only did he get off the split to dodge the silence from Fear, but also immediately send his Storm Panda forward to just get themselves extra kills.
That we see SF net worth continuing to skyrocket up to 1,800 gold.
So watching this team fight one more time, Doom letting it lose his ultimate, and that's a pretty big stun. Unfortunately, the EG member is just a little bit too late to the party.
If the Death Prophet was there like a couple seconds earlier,
right,
they killed that Luna. They needed just one Spirit Siphon, or they needed like a Crypt Swarm on top of that Impale. And I think that's where it looked like it was so close to being a good fight for EG. That small like, split-second difference really decided the outcome. You could have had a 3-man Silence, Crypt Swarm, multiple Spirit Siphons, and Fear would have cleaned up.
Or if the Dazzle could be there to grave the Doom, you know, there's a lot of things that the tier 1 being dead in the bottom tower really costed that fight here for EG.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think VGJ knew it was a good fight because they've got great vision down bottom. They've got multiple lane wards, revealing a lot of what EG is doing. They know RTZ doesn't really choose to show up to any of these early game fights as well. So if they bring all 5, it's going to be a 5v4 fight.
Sure. I mean, even if he does show up to the fight, you know, Morphling with Perseverance is not going to do much. Here comes a tier 1 siege, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. If VGJ could convert their early lead with hero kills into the map lead, then that's exactly what they're looking for.
They get a tier 1 tower. There is some damage being dealt bottom by Fear, but without the ultimate, and bring this tower down very slowly and no real chance to finish it off. He needs to be careful not to get caught by a Glimpse or anything. Mid lane crit, found a Disruptor.
Okay.
Glimpse back, he may actually live. He's got a kinetic field too, yeah. I think it was just going for some harass there, really. Just so happened that Yang blinked away as the Impale was thrown, so he only hit 1 with it. Very odd, but...
I really like this item choice for Sumail. If you look at the damage output for Thunder, it's pretty much all magical until Luna picks up some physical damage, which is going to be a long time from now. Yep. So the pipe is going to allow them to win those fights that they just lost just now.
And they feel strong enough. Smoke into smoke here. 2 VGJ support. They do not want to fight into Sumail's Doom, especially with this pipe timing. And that's actually a great smoke pop coming out from VGJ. If they get caught there, if SF dies, that's a huge disaster.
They're going to get 1 glimpse back. They're going to try to bait out that Spike Carapace. A lot of control here. Spike has already been
SF
used.
may be able to finish him off. They go in the blink clap here. He was piped up, so Crypt blocking a lot of this damage, but SF was just hitting creep. He's like, oh, you guys got this. Don't worry about it. Oh, almost getting Fear there. If they got that Ice Shards block, that would have been a dead Death Prophet most likely.
Oh man, that was such a fun engagement because Shadow Fiend was trying to animation cancel his rage multiple times. Brewmaster animation canceling his ultimate. They're just trying to bait each other out using their spells and Spike Carapace.
VGJ are playing incredibly well. Not to say EG are not. They're kind of executing the classic EG game plan.
Yeah. 4
heroes roam around, do what they can while RTZ farms up a storm. As for VGJ, well, they've been fighting, taking the correct fights, avoiding bad situations, and they're up 17 kills to 5.
Now, of course, just being ahead is not going to win you the game.
Told that yesterday.
Yeah, the more experienced team knows how to close out the game, and that's always the big question for VGJ. Can they close out?
Oh, what a Yules! He's doomed up, but he's not going to get any follow-up. The nice disengage coming from VGJ. They static Storm Connect Field. They chose not to take a fight. I think knowing that you're right by a tower. Morphling can TP in, and Fear with Exorcism at this stage of the game, very, very scary. Once SF gets doomed up, that's your main source of damage. They may smoke up here and try and take a fight on their own terms. Yeah, they're going to go right into that.
I love the decision to smoke up here. They have a sentry. One of the most common war spots is have a ward there. And you make sure that your smoke is not scouted.
That's a big kill.
Yeah. Oh, Yules is going to delay a little bit further, but easy race setup here for Freeze.
Looking for I love that Disruptor just runs forward. Like, let's see if this daytime vision will get me a glimpse kill. But...
I mean, that's just thinking ahead. I mean, Yang did that earlier with the Dazzle kill as well. Just really smart, high IQ play.
And then right into Roche. This is a very well executed game so far from VGJ. They've got to keep it up. We've seen it before. Get off to this hot early start, play everything right, but the late game is where EG shine. That's where RTZ gets involved. He's got the Lincoln Sphere, queued up Ethereal Blade, but it will be an Aegis in VGJ's hand. Let's talk EG. Lumi, how good of a Morphling game is this? Like, is this a game where Morphling is going to be able to 1v5 carry the game like we saw RTZ's Terrorblade do?
I don't think so. There's a lot of ways to control him and just delay his kill. He can just one-shot the Disruptor, so Disruptor needs to pick up a Glimmer Cave for himself ASAP. But I think RTZ needs help. I don't think he could do it all by himself this game. So where is he going to get help from? Fair is behind. Sumail is going for a rather defensive build rather than an offensive one. And of course, you know, Dazzle is not exactly an offensive support, so it's a rough one for EG down the stretch.
Yep. Does look like VGJ want to try and prevent this going late game as much as possible. With the fast Roshan, they may try and take out all these outer T2 towers, really starve out EG, and on top of that, Brewmaster Vlads.
Look at the bottom lane here, crit. Meteor Hammer finish, trying to set up a gang.
I love it. The meme hammer. I don't even think we can call it that anymore. It's well and truly proven to be a viable item. The changes it's received.
Has Heroes actually gotten hit by Meteor Hammer yet in this tournament?
Who knows? Buildings have. That's what matters. He doesn't.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's actually like pretty effective. You don't have to get the arcane boots because it gives you a nice little bit of 12 in. It's decent. Mana regen, health regen with instant strength. Like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, any hero would be happy to get that kind of stuff. And Next Assassin normally has a lot of item choices. Comparatively, that's a hand of Midas that he could have gotten. You know, this game can go long and looks like it will go long.
Meteor hammering quick waves and then TPing out. Wave clear, power push, disable. What more do you need? Manta Star picked up on Shadow Fiend. We're seeing Mantas on both VGJ cores. Good against the shotgun of Morphling, being able to dodge and disjoint the ethereal form if you need to.
VGJ really want to take a fight right now before their Aegis fades.
They've smoked up behind the Shadow Fiend. Are they going to get Jules here? Okay, he waves away. He has got the Lincoln Sphere. They pop it first. That sets up a glimpse into Static Storm. Arteezy in trouble, brought down with the help of an Eclipse. They throw everything to make sure they get the kill. They may have not even needed an Eclipse, but why not? You've killed the one hero that is likely EG's main chance to win this game.
There is a possibility of counterplay by EG. Buyback is available, and you just
I just really want to buy back your Morphling.
It's a big risk. You did see Eclipse being used, but they're not going to defend this tier 2. High ground is how EG's going to hold for now.
Oh, they're going to take a tier 2. He may have to buy back just for, like you say, for the high ground defense. Crits there in the front lines, blink in, primal split, perhaps just try and create some space. The Doom comes out onto Luna, gets snowballed forward. Luna, though, does not have the Aegis. That's to the Shadow Fiend. He drops a Requiem on Misery, forcing a defensive grave on himself, as it does look like EG will repel the VGJ push. The Doom on Luna and the primal split being thrown, but not really setting up any kills, perhaps limiting VGJ's options there.
Yeah, VGJ didn't really do that much tower damage either. They did trade the ultimate, though, of Fierce Exorcism, so honestly, they did defend EG, but they're not going to get too much out of that defense. There's no Roshan to claim, there's no tier 2 to really grab.
They could grab a tier 2 at bottom, but yeah, it doesn't look like they'll go for a tier 3 or anything.
Oh, I'm talking about EG. Like they made a successful defense, but that's it. No.
Is either side's ult, I mean, you compare Exorcism for split, isn't the Exorcism kind of more important and valuable? Like, if EG without it, I feel like really struggle to fight. VGJ, as long as they've got this, like, I mean, we're seeing it now. They've got Aegis, they've got SF.
Oh, they got Meteor Hammer. Boom.
Okay. Drop down, two-man stun, with an Impale to follow it up. There's going to be another Static Storm coming out. Sumail trapped in that one. The SF being brought very low. Aegis will pop. Great defense with the help of that Meteor Hammer. Beer in the front line, throwing out the Spirit Siphons. Still dealing good damage even without the ultimate. They're going to set up another Impale. He's just being kited around. Constant disables, and they say, well, no Exorcism, no problem. We've got crit. Proving the value of the hammer.
Arteezy checking out his farm. He's going for a BKB, and I'm scared for EG fans because I'm not sure if this BKB is going to allow him to carry his team back.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs something hyper risky and hyper offensive like the Ethereal Blade to give him a shot.
It seems to me the idea is he wants to play for the ultra late game, but to do that he needs to not be able to get picked off like we saw. The one thing that's going to kill him is that Disruptor glimpse back. He just wanted an item that stops himself getting glimpsed.
Yes.
In a scenario where, as we saw, his Lincolns gets broken. Your Lincolns gets broken, you wave away. Well, glimpse has a much longer range than your waveform does. So I think we're going to see this be a farming BKB, not a fighting BKB.
Yeah. And that's always a feels bad moment because BKB as an item just doesn't help you farm that fast.
It's 9 times out of 10 picked up to take fights.
Yes. Oh. Crit just looking, and here comes that Meteor Hammer. Yule's dodge, perhaps? Okay, the fake out.
Get himself out of there, but losing a lot of his mana pool. G down for 8,000 gold here. They had an okay start early on, but VGJ have been the ones controlling the mid game here. lanes being constantly pushed out. That was something that VGJ had trouble with yesterday, even when they were up 30 kills to 10 or something. All that their lanes were being pushed in and they constantly had to deal with it. This time around, they're the ones pressuring EG's side of the map, and got to feel pretty good for them. They're going to see this BKB and Arteezy and probably be a bit bummed that they can't kill him and do what they just did to him, but at the same time, it feels good for VGJ. They're like, well, this Morphling has a BKB, he's not scary.
Yep. It's a different story when Freeze pops his BKB, right? Because his ultimate is tremendously impactful, and his right click actually hurts, you know, unlike the Morphling, who technically does more damage, but I don't think he could stand in the middle of fight the same way that Shadow Fiend can.
This is the kind of game I just feel like I've seen Arteezy in the past, you know, pull out through split push, through flashy plays on heroes like Morphling, Riken before, where, you know, you're down by a ton, but he's constantly split pushing a lane, finding ways to chip at your high ground, trading racks, whatever it may be, and that's something VGJ have to be very aware of.
Yeah. VGJ just taking their time right now, but here comes a very decisive smoke gank for EG. Roshan,
they've got vision too. What on the high ground?
Bayo in the front line. If he gets caught here, that's team fight ultimate gone.
Blink in. Oh, Sumail, no chance to use the Doom. Possibly after the Sending Storm with the help of the Grave here. Requiem going to get thrown out. Sumail brought down. Wave in from Arteezy, but he's being right-clicked down. Arteezy, he may have BKB, but he's got no wave for. Arteezy's dead. Oh no, it's a disaster as the Glimpse back going to catch another crit. Next in the firing line, Dazzle dead, and that is it. Almost team wipe here. It's about to be with Fear. Unable to escape, I imagine. He has got a Yules as well as a TP scroll, but he's surrounded by 5 heroes. And it's a full 5-man wipe, Lumi.
They're drawing down line to the mid lane. What fast reaction by Fade. That snowball dodge on the Doom. Static Storm to prevent the Doom. And after Doom came out of that Static Storm, he tried to Doom the Shadow Fiend, but he managed to dodge that one too.
Was he actually aiming for the Doom? It felt like he was trying to go on the Nyx.
He aimed for somebody, but he got nobody.
Yeah. Hey, look, I think he saw the Nyx and was like, oh, I got a snowball right away. And it just so happened Sumail like blinked into the stun. I don't think, I mean, it was great reactions to the Nyx. I don't think it was quite the godly reactions for the Doom that was even possible, but regardless, VGJ, high ground, mid-racks taken. They're bottom now as well. They are perhaps about to give EG their first loss of the tournament, unless EG have something to say about it. They still have Doom, which they're going to throw out on the SF, but there's no follow-up. At least on the SF, Brewmaster on the front lines, he's perhaps going to be the kind of sacrificial lamb. He's soaking up a bit of damage here already, but the chase is difficult. They're going to turn and fight. Snowball comes in. The Doom's going to be wearing off soon. Static Storm's there on a couple of heroes here, and EG have lost 3 more.
By the way, look at the positioning of Death Prophet right now. He is racing back in the middle of the map. The reason is he bought back.
It's GG.
Yeah, they call it GG. So Fair bought back, he poured it in, and he got glimpsed all the way to the previous fight where he died. So he was just completely out of the fight for that engagement.
And Arteezy TP'd into the shrine, expecting a big fight to happen, and he's like, I've got no Death Prophet. My supports are dead, but what is there left to do? And EG gets stumped here in game 1. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said that EG was the clear favorite, but coming in, VGJ riding up the momentum for the lower bracket, that was a strong start. I got